Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. It is time for a quick walkthrough of week number 6. I also want to talk a little bit about the past assignments. We do have, of course, the fiction paper I have not graded yet. I have finished with the bibliographies. And that's something I want to talk about. I am a little concerned at the research that was shared in those. A lot of people were utilizing sources that are of, I guess the best word for it is questionable value. And I'm concerned primarily because in this course in particular, we have direct links to reputable library-oriented sources. So I don't know why we would be going on the internet and searching for things when you already have access to good sources. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. When you are doing research for our class, and I'm going to use the poetry stuff because that's the next bibliography that's going to be due. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. When you are researching something like a poem, you need to be using primarily the sources that have been provided for you by the library or doing additional searching using our library. So I'm going to choose to autumn because it's fall and I'm channeling fall and I have all my Halloween sweatshirts out. So we're gonna use to autumn. When you are creating your bibliography for this paper and you have chosen to write about John Keats to Autumn, it is very important that you utilize the citations that have been provided for you and the sources that have been provided for you. So this is an exact MLA citation for the poem itself. Every time you cite the poem, it's going to be Keats and it's going to be a line number because you're going to be talking about specific lines. So in the paper, you're going to be having specific line numbers. On the bibliography, you also need to use some reference type sources, and author biographies would be considered reference sources. There is only one. And so I can also see in this particular case, if you wanted to look for another additional biography of Keats online, that is certainly fine. However, the Wikipedia is not a source that you can use. So please, please, please keep Wikipedia off of your bibliographies and out of your papers. The discussion of the poem itself or the short story itself in the previous incarnation should rely primarily on the critical analyses that are provided for you. Now, to be fair, there's only 2 of those here for Autumn, and you need more than that for your bibliography. You may only use these in the paper, the 3 sources that are here, that's fine. But in your bibliography, of course, you do need to find additional information. So let's talk a little bit about conducting research. So we're first going to open a new tab. I'm going to move myself out of the way here. Let's open a new tab, and we're going to go to the library, lssc.edu/library, and that will take us directly to the library. When you are searching for information using the library, it is super easy. You can just use the articles, books, and more. You can use the general search here. You can also get more specific, and I'm going to be more specific on this because especially when we're looking for poems, individual particular poems, we may need to go into specific databases. So I'm going to go to a database. I'm going to go to databases A to Z. And there are a couple of different ones that we really recommend for literature. So let's choose literature. And we have the quote unquote best bets. So you have the Literary Reference Center Plus, Bloom's Literary Criticism book, ebook collection, Gale Literary Sources. Lit Finder is more about finding primary sources, but it does include some summaries and things like that. The ones that I would focus on are as follows. Literary Reference Center Plus, Bloom's Literary Criticism ebook collection, Gale Literary Sources. Those are the top three. If you are more interested in video, Alexander Street Video is a great one. JSTOR is a great one for old information. And 2Autumn, to be fair, is old. So I'm going to show you first how to search in JSTOR. You'll need to sign in, of course. And we're going to search for the title, 2Autumn. We have 7,274 results. This is the kind of article that you want to be including in your criticism section of fulfilling that for the bibliography, and also to use in your paper. So this one is a fairly short journal article. I'm going to click on this one because we're going to go ahead and look at this one. But notice that we have, before we even get into it, we have a citation generator. And so you can go ahead and copy this and place it in your Word document. I'm going to open a blank Word document and show you a couple of tricks for putting those in. I'm going to need to share that as well. So let me reshare here. All right, so in your Word document, we are creating a bibliography. I'm not going to put all the identifying information in it yet. I'm just going to do the bibliography. So I'm going to click on no spacing. I'm going to change to double spacing. And I am going to center works cited. Now, you notice I have not changed the font. I am not using Times New Roman 12. I am using the default font, and you are welcome to use the default font for my class. As I mentioned, there are instructors that will insist that you make everything Times New Roman 12. So I've demonstrated how to do that before. But anyway, keep that in mind. Now, we are doing a bibliography, and a bibliography requires a hanging indent. So we're going to click the bottom arrow, the bottom triangle, and drag it over to the 1/2 inch mark. I am going to paste, because I've already copied it, but I'm going to click on choose match formatting. I can't talk this morning. Notice that it is now in the right font and it has the hanging indent. If you do forget to do the hanging indent, we can do that. Not a big deal. Let's just do, in fact, let me undo this. First, let me show you what happens if you just paste, because that is not good. Now we've got a different font, we've got a different size, we've got everything's different. That's not ideal. However, okay, let's go with it. This needs to be double spaced and have a hanging indent. And I can do that after the fact. Now, I also, because I didn't change the document to Times New Roman 12, I need to change this back to Times New Roman. Two things, well, several things. The individual work is always in quotation marks, and then the journal title and the database title will both be in italics. You want to keep those italics, which is the benefit of usually using the match formatting. I'm going to undo hyperlink. If you forget to undo hyperlink, it's not a big deal. Okay, so there's my citation. Now I've got to read the article. So I'm going to click on the title. This is where I would read it. It's got the, it's in PDF form. So this is one of those cool things that means that when I use this, if I use this in my paper, I can also cite the actual page number. So for an in-text citation, my citation would include the author's last name, which was Albrecht, and then a page number, 104 or 105. Okay. So it makes a difference what you are seeing when you look at the particular source. Now, one cool thing about JSTOR, we've got related text here. So if I go into one, I can go into more of them. This one is 8 pages long, 7 pages long. This is going to be more in depth. That might be really interesting. This one is a longer work as well. So these are going to be more, this one's not, this one's short, but you can kind of tell by what you're looking at whether this is going to be an in-depth coverage or something else. So let's go to this one just because it looks good. Okay. Again, this is a scanned page. So when I cite this in my paper, I am going to use the author's last name, which is Southam, and I'm going to use the page numbers. We're going to collect the citation, and we're going to paste that in our Word document. Now, I've already got the hanging indent turned on, so let me do match formatting, and it will keep it. Right now, these are in the proper order because it should be alphabetical order. You can sort them at the end. You will have things that do not have an author if you're looking at reference type sources. So let's put one of those on there as well. Let me go ahead and pull this author biography. This is in Gale eBooks, you will notice, so it looks different. All of the databases will look a little bit different, but they all have roughly the same tools. Here's my cite button. Gale also puts a citation at the bottom. Um, a long way down there, but let's look at it. You notice I don't have page numbers on this. Although actually, yeah, I don't have page numbers on this. So when I cite this, I'm not going to use the page number. And this one, it does list an author. So we are going to use the author. So we're going to copy the citation and we're going to put it in our document. And I'm going to merge match formatting. Notice this is in italics, the journal title is in italics or the book title, and so is the database. You should have both of those things in all of your entries. I did notice that there were some missing, and I think they were all in one particular database. So let's go look at that database. Let's go back. To databases A to Z. Uh-oh. There we go. Let's just go back to the library. So let's choose databases A to Z. And again, let's limit it to literature. That's what we're doing. Oops, not languages. I was so close. I was almost there. There we go. Search. And I'm going to, I love how it moves them. I'm going to use the Literary Reference Center Plus this time because I know that that is a different company. And sometimes searching two different companies is better. And we're going to put in, again, in quotation marks because we want it to be the phrase to autumn. And that pulls up 3,000 sources. Okay, so this is not the poem that we're looking for. In fact, this is a lot of different stuff. So we're going to put in to autumn and Keats. We're going to put the poet's last name and see if that narrows it down for us. Yes, 44 results, and we have a lot of information. So we have some books, we have some peer-reviewed academic journals. Let's look at one of the ebooks because that was something that a lot of people had incorrect citations on. So I'm gonna click on this one. Okay, let's just go to this one. Now, when you go into this database, you will notice that we have Access Now, which is the full text, which is what you'd want to look at when you're reading about it. And then we have the citation button. So I'm going to click on Cite, and I'm going to change this to MLA. And we have a citation. Now, this has the proper citation. So I think people were looking at the wrong place for some of these books because this is clearly right. So let me put this one in here. Okay, and then when you are using this, you are going to need to open the book And no page numbers. This is not a scanned page. So when we read from this, we're going to cite the author, but we are not going to cite a page number. Okay. Let's get another one from this particular database. Let's take one of the, let's take this first one. It's kind of interesting. It's a 7-page article. It is not listed as an academic journal. It's just listed as a periodical, which means it's like a popular magazine, but we have the PDF, which is great because when we cite it, we're going to be able to use the page numbers. To get the citation, though, we need to open this record first. So we're going to click on the cite button. Again, we're going to have to change it to MLA. And here is our citation. So let's copy that and put it in our Word document. Now, obviously, when you are doing your bibliography, you're also going to be adding your annotations. When we do that, we are going to hit enter and then type it in that space, in the indented space. However, I'm not going to do that until I sort these because I want to just go ahead and have them in alphabetical order. So that's what that one will look like. When we open the source, excuse me, when we open the source, it says it's a PDF and it is, here's the page numbers, 117, 118, et cetera, et cetera. So when I'm quoting or paraphrasing from this source in my paper, I'm going to include Abs, right? His name is Abs, and the page number. Okay. Every single time I have a citation from this source, I would need to have a page number. Let's say we also need some additional information that we're going to get online. So let's do the good old Google search. I'm going to put to Autumn and Keats, and I'm going to choose analysis. Okay. Like there's a lot of ways that you can do it. Now, a lot of you did cite lit charts and spark notes. Those are fine. They're not academic sources, but they are good for summary and analysis. Do not use Wikipedia. Okay. There's also going to be videos. You could look at videos. There's all kinds of fun things you could use. So I'm going to go first to the Spark Notes. I kind of like Spark Notes as the summaries go. This is about the summary page. Now, I may be looking more in depth. I may not be using the things on the literary or on the summary. Let's say I'm going to themes. So let's say I'm citing something from this particular page. I need to cite this particular page. So I'm going to open the website that I think I've told you guys about before. Oops, except I can't type. And Scribber's default is APA. Whatever. Oh, stop. Oh my Lord. Okay. I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, so Scribber is open. We're going to choose the citation generator and we're going to choose MLA. APA is the default. So we need to choose MLA. And we're going to, if it lets me, no, it's not going to let me. It's going to give it to me in Times New Roman, which is fine. So we're going to leave that. And then I'm going to paste in my URL. Okay, if it says no results found, we need to use the site manually. It's kind of interesting. I didn't think SparkNotes would do that, but anyway, we're gonna make it happen. So we need the page name, and I wonder, I think I actually lost it. Let me open that page. Okay, so the page name is John Keats Odes Themes. Okay, so let's put that in here. The website name is SparkNotes. There are no contributors listed for things like this. The publication year, it probably doesn't have one. If it has it does have a copyright year, so we're gonna use that. And my access date is today. URL, we already have that copied, and we're going to cite the source. Now, when you are using Scribber, you do have the ability to add an annotation directly in here, but I just want to cite it for right now. So we have now our citation. So we're going to copy this to the clipboard, and we're going to go back and we're going to paste that in. Now, one thing that's interesting is here, you do have the website is in italics, but that's it. So what we have here is a non-authored source. So when we cite this in the in-text citation, it's going to look like this. John Keats. You can use the whole thing. You don't have to. I would just use that part and then call it a day. But you may have more than one that starts out with John Keats, so you may have to use the whole title. That's what that'll look like. Now, let's talk about sorting. So as I mentioned, everything has to be in alphabetical order, which includes things that do not have authors. In order to sort using Word, we're going to delete that quotation mark. We're going to highlight the whole list, and we're going to click on the sort button, and we're going to click OK. Now everything is back. Everything is in alphabetical order. And the only thing that we have to do is put that back in. Now I would be ready to write my annotations. So let's say I was annotating this one. So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to move the whole margin over to the 1/2 inch mark. And this is where my annotation is going to go. Okay, so let's put a period there. So that's what you should be doing when you're doing your bibliography by itself. Now, we are, of course, going to be using MLA format. So let's put in the name, Sally, oops, I can't talk today, or type student. This is for it's for me, Pierce. It's for ENC 1102, and today is 23rd September 2025. Okay. We also need a header. So we're going to use the insert menu, and we're going to choose the page number first. It goes at the top of the page on the right. And then next to that, we need to type the student's last name. So her last name is student. Now, one of the reasons why I left this in the default is so that this is already automatically all the right font. Let's say you want to do Times New Roman because you know that many people want you to do it. So I'm going to put, actually, I think that went in the wrong spot. I want to put this in with the page number. Okay, so student, and let's double click on this, and let's change this to Times New Roman. And then in the document itself, we're going to do the same thing. Command all, we're going to change this to Times New Roman. Now, luckily, when you change the font, it won't take out your italics or anything like that. So this is what this will look like. I am going to give you this document. So if you want to use this as your basic setup for your upcoming papers and bibliography, you can do that. We're going to call this sample bibliography for ENC 1102. Okay, and I'm going to save this, and I will attach it to our weekly walkthrough thing. Okay. All right, let's talk about what's due this week. We haven't done our actual walkthrough yet because I wanted to show you that. This week, we are in, like I said, we're in week 6. You're working on the poetry paper. You've already turned in, hopefully, your preliminary bibliography. If there's something on it that you're like, oh, now I know I did it wrong, feel free to redo it and turn it in soon, because it's still going to take me a few days to finish grading the fiction papers and stuff like that. So you have a little extra time if you want to make changes to it. So feel free to do that. It would not count as late. Okay. All right, so that's it. Good luck, Godspeed. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's see some good research.